Welcome back to the Train the Trainer Training Day 1. My name is Faye Colley. In this video, we will have an overview of the SETS 4.0 Evaluator Training Day 1, slides 80 to 102. This portion of the training focuses on categorizing evidence. Slide 80 is a graphic reminder that you collect evidence during the lesson by paying attention to what the teacher says and does and what the students say and do. Remind your SETS Evaluator training participants that the observation must be from bell to bell. Slides 80 through 85 focus on capturing evidence during an observation. Emphasize to your SETS Evaluator training participants to capture as much verbatim dialogue as possible. As you help them internalize the rubric, this process will become more targeted and efficient. Capturing enough verbatim dialogue to accurately score each indicator is key. Show your participants samples of how you do it and talk about your personal experiences. Tell them that as they practice, they will find what works best for them. What they will see are just suggestions. Slides 83 and 84 are also in the SETS 4.0 workbook, page 15. For slide 84, it is recommended that you, the trainer, highlight the importance of the upfront summary, which is number 6 on the slide. It is recommended that during the 3 days of training, that you, the trainer, will allow a few minutes following each video for your participants to process the lesson as a whole and record an upfront summary. As the trainer, tell participants that just because all standard areas are not listed above, looking at number 9, it clearly does not mean that they are not categorizing for other standard areas. What's up there on number 9 refer to the low-hanging fruit, meaning these can be captured and categorized very easily. Slides 85 and 86 show samples of scripting evidence. Point to your participants that for this sample, the evaluator used T for teacher and S for student. This is strongly suggested as it reminds us that we should be capturing verbatim dialogue and evidence of teacher and student behaviors. It is important to emphasize that labeling of indicators next to pieces of evidence should happen after the lesson observation, not during the lesson. When the participants are categorizing evidence, they can go through their notes and label the abbreviated indicators as in the example above. For slides 87 and 88, these are slides that introduce the next activity, which is viewing the high school lesson. Encourage your participants to avoid observer pitfalls. One of them is the halo and horns effect. This means that sometimes the observer or evaluator immediately likes the teacher's style and let that overshadow focusing on the evidence for the lesson, or it's vice versa. Another thing to avoid is letting the ending of the lesson overshadow the evidence for the entire lesson. Lastly, avoid only focusing on the teacher behaviors. Make sure to go to www.seadeptsupport.org and download the video for your participants ahead of time. The lesson length is 45 minutes. At your face-to-face training, at about 2 minutes in, pause this video. Then, ask your participants to show a shoulder partner what evidence they have collected. Also, at your face-to-face training, about halfway through the video, check on how actively people are scripting. One of the facilitators could be modeling collection of evidence and another monitoring engagement and evidence collecting by participants. Keep stressing that discussions should be grounded in evidence. For facilitation tips for virtual training, have an online document where students can post their script and you can review and access it later to give feedback as appropriate. Slides 89 and 90 are samples of student work from the ELA high school lesson. For slide 91, at your face-to-face training, your participants will be asked to give each other the gift of privacy. You'll ask them to close their eyes and show with their thumbs what they think of the lesson and where it might fall based on what they just viewed. Virtually, you can ask this via poll or thumbs up or down, a smiley or sad face in the chat if that feature is available. As a trainer, you should look carefully to see which participants are off in their prediction so that careful attention can be given to those participants during the categorization of evidence. As the trainer, you should tell participants that the focus of today is not on ratings. Although we did a pulse check, the focus will be on evidence. It is also important to note that the rubric is a 4-point scale, but for the first video, we really just want an overall pulse check of the room. For slide 92, emphasize to your SCTS 4.0 Evaluator training participants that the focus for the lesson again is on the evidence. Later, when you're given your Trainer of Trainer credential, you will have access to the Evaluator Trainer's notes, and you can refer to the Trainer's Manual Day 1 appendix for the modeling activity related to the categorizing of evidence. Slide 93 is a reminder of language to avoid when gathering evidence. Slide 94 to 96 are just examples of evidence from Mr. Campbell's lesson, followed by slide 97, prompting you, the trainer, to take a 10-minute break. Slides 98 to 101 are directions on categorizing evidence. Ensure that at your face-to-face trainings that you assign the roles posted on the slide. Virtually, you may have to create an online document wherein multiple participants can categorize evidence together and review according to their roles. Categorizing evidence activity, you can instruct your SETS 4.0 Evaluator participants to use workbook pages 16 through 18. To maximize the time, instead of spending 15 minutes for each of the slides from 99 to 101, assign groups to work on specific indicators, at least 3 indicators per group. At your face-to-face training, as the trainer, you should be very active during this activity. You should be guiding and assisting by planting seeds of evidence when the table group is off target. Feedback is given here, table by table, so that large whole group debrief doesn't have to happen. As the trainer, you should let the table groups know that this is how feedback is being given. You can have posters and charts on display. For virtual training, take time to give feedback on the participants' entries to the online document you provided for this activity. Trainers should use the National Raters evidence to assist your participants in this portion of the training. You will end the section on categorizing with a debrief. You will not share the ratings for each of the indicators for the first video. Reiterate to your participants that what is important is the quality of evidence. As the trainer, you can share the overall rating for the video with participants. Again, this is Faye Holly, and you just finished watching the overview of the SETS 4.0 Evaluator Training, Day 1, Slides 80 to 102.